Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship here at Circuit de Spa. I'm Austin. I'm joined by Alessandro Dalladante with Marco Barbonera in the booth, and we're here live in Belgium on Apex Racing TV. Alessandro, how are you feeling about today, and how are you feeling about this track?
Well, definitely it's one of that historic tracks we all are looking for when we want to get some racing. And I think we are in for a nice treat tonight because look at this field. We always have these great names in this series. We are all looking forward always on Saturdays for this F3 broadcast race.
Now, the Formula 3.5 field, definitely the strongest here on iRacing. 24 cars lined up, and I think our SOF is in 5K right now. And, you know, let's bring it up. Oh, so close, 4.9K. This field's absolutely on top of 24 cars, and pretty much every name in the Formula 3.5 field that's been just running this season and running up there is here today because it's Spa. Everyone knows Spa. Everyone's at the top of their game at Spa because they just ran it so much. And so this is going to be a very tight field. And look, speaking of tight, the top six all within the second of each other.
Absolutely. It's going to be a very intense race, and you can clearly see it already from the times we are having in qualifying as Paul Hilbrink is about to finish his lap. Let's see where he places his Radical Formula 3.5. Third place. Good lap for Paul. He calls it a day because obviously they are already late. If you are ending now the first lap, there's no time for ending the second one later because we are only 1 minute 40 left.
Yeah, only a little bit of time left as the field's starting to come across and more times are coming in. James J. Pinkster is currently on provisional pole where he took his first win in the Formula 3.5s about a year ago, I believe.
Absolutely on great form, James J. Pinkster, and he's showing he has plenty of speed also today. He will be one of the drivers to beat as usual. Edson Borski, 13th place right now. He's about to finish his second lap. Some improvements in the first two sections, but we have a yellow sector in the middle, so let's see.
Sam Borski, I was practicing with him, and he was experimenting with medium downforce. I could see him running that right there. So we might see a few drivers running medium downforce throughout this race. They're going to be very quick on the straights, but if they get behind another car outside of the straights, it's going to be very hard for them to stay behind. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how he does with that medium downforce. I think he might switch to high downforce looking at a starting position. Another driver in medium downforce is Ali Kwaka.
Gonna be very interesting to see how the drivers will deal with these different decisions. And also here we have our beautiful weather. Race held on the 1st of March. 24 degrees Celsius in the air, 27 on the track. Qualifying is over, Austin. So let's get ready to give you a rundown of the grid with James
Pinkster up on pole, followed by Jose Longa, Paul Ilbrink in third, and Daniel Campos in fourth. Andreas Ferrazete and Antonio Pavetta right behind him, followed by Greg Olson, Jorge Garcia, Jason Enrique, and Emil Bernsoff caps off your top 10, followed by Rob Bohr and Fabio De Carmo in 12th place. Robert Tarleton, Jorge Lopez, Edward Samborski, Rob Crouch, Masafumi Aburame, Theodore Burns, Hayata Asaka, James Byrne, Phil Reed, Jamie Byrne, Eduardo Marquez, and Ali Kwak at the end of the grid, who is the only one who didn't set a lap time.
Yeah, maybe some issues with the servers, hearing people struggling to join, but important he will be back. The race is long, so hopefully Oli will be able to bounce back. Just a quick sponsor shout out before we start with the race to the Apex Racing Academy with 29 data pack setups, track guides integrated with VRS weekly group coaching sessions and also one-on-one coaching. Setups, track guides, data analysis softwares. So if you are looking for some setups, go check them out. Remember also that you can run the Apex Racing Academy logo on your car for this season. If you run more than 10 races, 10 or more races, you will be automatically invited on at a giveaway at the end of the season. So make sure to run it in official races only.
Yeah, official races, and as we look at our grid, I love these stats and how long Jarvis has gone without something. Well, James A. Pinkster, 60 attempts, finally gets up on pole, and he's going to lead us to green here at Spa. 5 red lights are on, and it's go, go, go here for the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship.
Great start by James A. Pinkster.
A little bit of tire squealing by brakes and a big block of some cars contacting as Rob Crouch went way off the track right there. And some drivers definitely not happy about that. And James A. Pinkster still leading out, followed by Longo, Campos, Silbrink, Pavetta, Perez, Nate, Garcia, Olsen, Bernstoff, Enrique, Tarleton, Tucampo, Sagapor. Bernstoff is in the wall. Bernstoff's in the wall at the top of Radion. Oh, no!
So Cuoca, Bernstoff ride are involved, something we didn't want to see, but here we are with the fight for second place between Lang and Campos, teammates fighting for positions, and behind also Paul Ilbrink coming around
going down there. He's trying to go around the outside of Campos, gets a little bit bump right there, but holding it outside, but oh, Ilbrink into the wall.
3 wide was never gonna work, and Paul Ilbrink is the one ending up in tears in the wall. Very unlucky, we must say, in these broadcast races in the last few weeks. He's in a rough streak.
Yeah, Paul's never, the luck hasn't been there with Paul. Usually, he has described his races as trying to avoid a train wreck sometimes. As we ride on board Daniel Campos, looking back on Pavetta and Faraz Litte right behind him. A very aggressive first lap. By all these drivers, some of them not happy a few things that happened at the start, but man, this race has been good. But oh no, Aberame, after a fantastic race in Canada last week, he's fallen down to 19th, and he was off the track.
Rob Crouch going wide. Ooh, contact!
Garcia losing control of his car around Blanchimont. And that's the risk of running medium downforce around here. If you're behind a car, you're getting affected by that dirty air. You aren't going to have that much grip. And if you just tense it around the outside while behind another car through Blanchimont, you will lose control. And so we're seeing a lot of these drivers risk it with medium downforce as Campos and Tarleton is off the track. And oh, Campos is around.
I saw some smoke entering at the hairpin, and was Campos going wide. But here we are with the fight for third place between Poveda and Ferras Leite. Obviously, Slipstream gonna play a big effect on this straight. And remember also the 8 DRS available for these drivers.
Yeah, 8 DRS can be activated anytime on the field as the too fast for you 21 of Andreas Ferraz Litte up into third.
Look at these gargoyle cars. We have some Rob Crouch.
Oh, more contact after Rob Crouch. Marquez and Byrne get into it as well. And I think Byrne might have just drove into Marquez while he was spun around on the entry of that corner.
Carnage in these opening laps of Spa. Everyone very aggressive because they know that if you want to make some big moves, you have to do it early. When tires are not up to temperature, then making passes work is gonna be difficult, especially if you have high downforce, we are told. In the race, it's gonna be very difficult.
High downforce is going to be advantage for you in the corners. You're going to just be able to stay right there and not be affected by the dirty air. The medium downforce is going to be helping you on the straights, but if you're behind a high downforce car with a medium downforce car, you're going to be affected so much by dirty air, there will be no chance for you to catch up to that high downforce car without using some of your DRS right there.
Absolutely, you can see here Enrique struggling on the straight. Zaga going through the outside. Azaga too much master, saves the car though, crossing the escape route, loses a few positions, slow down for him, but at least he didn't turn. It was really tight.
Now, Azaga has the benefits of high downforce. The high downforce allowing you to brake much later than the medium downforce cars. And, well, he was trying to beat the other guy on the brakes, and, well, unfortunately, too much mustard to that corner, and he went sliding around up to the front of James J. Pinsker and Jose Longa, the two high downforce drivers leading out this field by 5 seconds. But you also have to remember, all the medium downforce fields are all in a pack with each other, and well, they've been battling, providing great entertainment for us here as Antonio Pavetta and Robert Tarleton going side by side with each other.
Yeah, great fight between these drivers. Remember that if you try to attack somebody and you are not successful when you are so close with each other, you might even lose a position. So drivers need to be very careful when they mind to attack someone for position. As we have some more takers in pit road, Rob Crouch, Byrne, Marquez, we saw involved in a crash early, are still sitting on pit road. We had also James Byrne and Phil Reed entering pit road this time to fix the car. 11-second stop, so some wing damage, I guess.
8 cars were in pit road from that first lap. So 4.9k SOF, and everyone wants to win this race, and everyone wants to do good. And I'm pretty sure we have a few drivers in chat who are not happy about what happened to them. As we ride on board, Ever Samborski currently sitting in 8th place as we look back at Jason Enrique and Rob Board, two high downforce drivers trying to catch up to Samborski in that medium downforce. And Samborski, you can just see the advantage that he's doing. He's pulling away from them even when they're in his draft, then onto the brakes to catch right back up to him.
You can see though in the braking zone how close Enrique came to the rear wing of Samborski, but obviously in this first part of the track it's gonna be difficult for them, almost impossible to pass him, because with that medium downforce there's no way they can actually try to get him on pure top speed. As we move back to the fight for the last step of the podium between Ferraz Leida and Poveda. But also look at Tarleton losing a position there. Look
at the speed, it's going through the grass. Oh man, that almost got extremely bad for all these guys up here down the Colonel Straight as Pavetta holds it down the inside and he's off into the wall.
Very unfortunate, needs to be careful. Another car is around.
Oh, that's Campos.
What happened there? It looked like an entrance.
I think he just lost it. I feel like he just lost it on his own.
Really weird, yeah. We'll see if you can get a replay. Perfect.
So here's what happened with Tarleton, and he just decided not to do that. And then Andreas Ferraz-Lete down the inside, then he just lost it on his own. It feels like there might have been a netcode hit right there. His car did have a little bit of bump. And here's what happened to Daniel Campos. That is Asaka right behind him in the 12th car. And oh, he just tried to block him on the straight. Yeah, that's all Campos right there. That's a active block.
I agree with that, absolutely. That was very late. I think Azaga is also very lucky to not have any damage on his front wing as far as I saw there. So the Japanese driver should be able to keep on going without having to pit as Byrne goes through. Right, no, they are still fighting for position. They pit together a few laps ago after some damage, but here Langa is reining in Pinsker slowly for the lead, so we might have a nice battle.
Long as you just stay back there with him and just stay in that just as long as he wants to. He does have 8 uses of DRS available, and I know James is very quick around here. He did get our pole, but what James has to realize, not to waste his DRS opportunities, because you're going to need that at the end of this race, especially if Longa is still right there. They're going to be catching up to you no matter what, but if the longer you keep Longa back there, the more dirtier that Longa is going to be getting and the more tire wear that he's going to have. And what Longa needs to do is get past Pinks here as soon as possible to avoid that. So it's really about strategy. But I feel like with the amount of cars that we've had go into the pits on lap 1, 8, and now into the pits, it's complete 10 cars that have gone to the pit lane. We might have lap traffic throughout this race, and lap traffic might be a big factor here today.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. You can see here the track map in front of the leader. So far, the track is pretty empty. We have only Marquez in 19th place, a few corners ahead, so they shouldn't have many issues, but you can see the field being very spread out. Unfortunately, we lost already a nice number of cars. Ferras later is the last one, but is right now coming out to the pits, so he will be able to continue. Here is
the fight for third is just absolutely insane right now, being led by Robert Tarleton. Behind him is Greg Olson and Antonio Pavetta and Fabio Di Carmo. I'm pretty sure the SR gods are getting a nice donation by all these drivers today.
Oh yeah,
I feel like all of them are pushing the limits, and they might be getting 1x. Ooh, a little bit of wiggle for James Pinkster coming out of the bus stop chicane, as Longa is just dancing on that gearbox right now. We might see him move for the lead down the straight here, and already taking a look on.
Oh!
He's hit him! He's hit him! Longa has hit Pinkster! The two leaders have got into each other, and Robert Tarleton sets the new fastest lap, and Pinkster getting the spot given back to him by Jose Longa. Longa knew that that was a mistake, and that's sportsmanship right there.
Absolutely. That's what we would like to see when something happens and you have the chance to give the position back. Hopefully they do not have any damage out of that. Looked like a net good collision. There was still some space, at least on my end, between the two cars. Hopefully they don't have any damage. But look at Tarleton behind, trying to make a gap happen with Olson on the other guys and just set a very nice lap. So
he set purple
guys,
last time by.
If
I feel like he did go off
fight, if they fight or have some damage out of this issue, I wouldn't count the couple Tarleton Olson out of the victory.
Indeed, and well, with that contact between these two drivers, I feel like they're going to be taking it a lot easier for a while, just to make sure that they don't hit each other and just stay on good hopes with each other, because they're out in the lead by 5 seconds. And if you just if you want to finish this race, you don't want to try anything stupid this early on, because Spa's a long race, even only with 18 laps. We ride on board Edward Samborski sitting in 7th ahead of Rob Borges and Enrique. He's having a good day today. He's up 8 spots, as you can see on his face, as Pavetta is going so off track. He's almost into France.
Yeah, you need to be careful though there, because if you hit the curb coming back on track, you must sustain some damage. Some curves around Spa are dangerous, especially when you try to come back onto the track. So with Formula cars, you need to be extra careful and take all the track you have outside of the racing surface to avoid any damage.
Yeah, sausage curbs here are known as bombs for these cars, because if you just go over a curb, you're going to get that floor damage, and that's just going to hurt you over a long run. You won't be getting able to get that speed. And with that contact between Pinkster and Longa, there might be a chance that Pinkster or Longa might have got some floor damage from there. Might be a chance, but I have a high feeling that neither of them do. But there might be a chance, as long as looking down the inside decides not to go for it. Just let Pinkster know that he's there and get onto the brakes a little bit earlier and allow James to stay ahead, as we got a good fight right now between Pavetta and Carmo.
You know, Austin, what these drivers need to do is work together, because even if they have a little bit of damage, but they can maintain a decent gap on Tarleton and Olson, they can fight for the win. If for some reason Tarleton and Olson manage to catch back the two leaders, remember, the leading two drivers are on an high downforce, the other drivers are on a medium downforce. If for some reason Tarleton and Olson catch back to the other group, for Pinkster and Landa, there's no way they can stay up front.
Now, the thing is, I have a feeling that the medium downforce will not be able to. The high downforce are just so fast through the middle section of this track that the advantages that the medium downforce get on the straight is just so minuscule that Paint Sierra and Longa are both at the top of their game right now. That nobody could catch them, and it's going to be a battle throughout these two guys unless they have a collision with each other again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. It's gonna be difficult. You can see the pace of these two drivers being very similar. So it will take some fights and a mistake to give Tartan also the chance to come back into the first two positions. But Austin, we are already almost halfway in this race. Race always fly by when you are having so fun.
And Fabio dancing in that draft. And Longa looking down the inside. James Pace here, and we got an overtake for the lead. Jose Longa up in the first.
We saw it coming. Longa having obviously the benefit of the slipstream on this long straight. You can see how the positive sim racing car has much more top speed, and JJ Kingston can't even defend because he's coming at such a high rate that obviously he's letting by without fighting much, but obviously now we'll be looking to save some DRS and at the same time don't burn up the tires too much.
A lot of drivers saying medium downforce is a preferred downforce to run here, while the high downforce guys are, well, the top two high downforce guys are showing them that high downforce can make it work here. And Spa has always been this way with the Formula 3.5 cars. In the old car and in the new car, the new updated car, the old handling car, we've always seen drivers go with the high downforce and the medium downforce. And Spa's always been that kind of split between drivers. They want that speed down the straight. They want to have that easy overtake, but in the corners is just where this race is won. And you know what might seem normal for a few drivers doesn't mean it's fast. And you know, drivers can have a different type of driving style that benefits their own driving style. High downforce drivers like the corners a lot more. Medium downforce drivers love the straights a lot more, and they feel like they can handle a more loose car than the high downforce guys. So it's all up to driver preference, really, and it's up in the air, really.
Absolutely, I agree 100% with Austin. It's gonna be very interesting though to see how these two different setups are gonna compare in these midfield battles, as we have Fabio Do Carmo looking to pass Antonio Poveda, but he can't make the move stick, and behind Edward Samborski in 7th place. Definitely very happy for his start, because he struggled quite a lot in qualifying, but found some speed in these opening 9 laps of the race.
Yeah, Poveda starting to pull away from Do Carmo and Samborski with Jason Enrique and Rob Bohr right behind him, and they've caught up to this pack. Yeah. And now we're going to get a good representation of high downforce versus medium downforce with Samborski and Enrique right now, as Samborski's got the medium downforce and Enrique's on that high downforce, and he's right on that gearbox right now as we watch this from Fabio Do Carmo's rear wing.
Yeah, consider also dirty air for Samborski. It's not gonna be easy to stay close to the cars in front, but if you look at our button box right now, you can see how close, how fast Samborski is closing on Do Carmo. And this is not even a very long straight.
Yeah, no, this part of the track is very quick, but is definitely draft dependent on how fast you can close it on a driver as they're going down the front straight, heading to the start right now. And just to watch on how far these guys are able to pull away from the high downforce guys, which is the advantage that they were looking for when setting up this car. They wanted to get as much space between them and the high downforce drivers on this straight as they go up through El Rouge and Radion. As James Pincer is dancing on the gearbox. He's trying to look down the inside as they made a pass on a lapped car. I believe that was the 24 of Marquez.
Involved in an accident early on in the race. Somebody can't make a move stick on the Carmo for 6th place. We'll have to hang there in 7th through this middle section. Now the race seems to have come down a little bit, even though we had right now a big movement for Samborski exiting. A corner was completely sideways. That's the risk of having a lower downforce setup.
Fun fact, I know some of these guys choose tracks that are FIA grade A, and I know that's what they're trying to vote on them. And I know Samborski was taking over the track voting process, and a few tracks that got in there was Alton Park. And that's not a grade A track, and I know he was trying to drive a few of them around there, and he's like, some of these tracks are just ridiculous. But an old favorite for you, because I believe you won a bet there, was a Mount Panorama's making its return.
Oh, nice. It's going to be definitely interesting. I'm really looking forward to commentate on that, not racing.
Medium downforce is faster there than high downforce.
Which makes completely no sense to me, but if you tell me that, I trust you 100%. You are the expert on this.
Well, we were doing lap time comparisons between Tim Delisle and I believe James Pincer. And James was just gaining so much time on the straights that it completely negated the high downforce advantage through the mountain section. So, you know, it could work as James swings down the inside, sells him a dummy, but Jose is not buying any of that.
Yeah, we know James is always actively looking to distract his rivals whenever he's closer to them, even though he can't really make a move stick. It's always a very good technique when, especially with the drivers that are not completely comfortable in a car, but might be fast. They inclined to make some mistakes, get scared of seeing someone in the mirror.
As we're riding on board with the new breed of Formula 3.5 drivers, Masafumi Aburame and Hayata Saga, I'm sorry. As, Longa just lost the space to James Pincer as he's returned to the lead, but the two Japanese drivers racing nose to tail, and Longa's fallen away from James Pincer. What's happened to Jose? Jose headed to campus. Just looks like he's missed the big slide and off the track and into the wall, and that's a front wing very damaged by Jose Longa. And that is very unfortunate because he just set the new fastest lap of the race, and now with the stricken car, he's going to be eaten up by Robert Tarleton and Greg Olson, and I feel like that's going to be another car into the pits here today.
Did another driver visiting this very treacherous pit entry.
That'll be the 11th car into the pits. And now we got a fight for second between Tarleton and Olson, as they're now fighting each for silver in this race. As James Pincer, I feel like he can breathe a sigh of relief right now. 5 seconds in the lead on the track where he took his first Formula 3.5 win and had his second win not too long ago. He's looking for his third here today at the track where he first did it all. And the first time he's got pole after 60 attempts. I feel like he's going to be very happy to look back at him as they're having a fight behind him. Tarleton and Olsen, both of them using DRS right now down the straight. None of them switching spots at all, especially when both of them opening up DRS. So Tarleton and Olsen nose to tail with each other.
Absolutely great racing between these two drivers. A staple of the league. Let's see a replay here. With Langa letting both drivers by.
Just see, he's definitely not going to be happy about that. Get his pit limiter and into this very slow pit lane. 37 miles an hour or 60 kph, I believe that's right, into this pit. So very slow.
Absolutely. This is very, very difficult also to enter without making mistake, because you can easily glance the wall, both on the inside and the outside if you are not careful. How many racers have ruined their race by just making a tiny mistake on pit entrance in an endurance event or simply a pit stop?
I know I haven't done it yet, but I know if we attempted a spa 24 hours, we would probably have done it in the first 5 minutes.
But we need to get there. So it's already a challenge for us.
But yeah, I know the rate of hitting the pit wall is very high here. I've done it at a few practice sessions. So we're out on board of Rob Bohr behind Jason Enrique and Edward Samborski in the battle for 6th place right now. 5 laps remain here at Spa today, and oh man, this one's been a barnstormer of a race.
Yeah, for sure. We got negated the chance to see a battle for the win, unfortunately, by the mistake of Langa, but still, we have plenty of battles on the field, throughout the field. For 2nd place, Tarton and Olson, Poveda and Carmo are still very close to each other. Samborski seemed like losing a bit of speed compared to the guys in front, so he's opened a gap of 1.7 seconds now between P5 and P6, and he's now fighting with Enrique and Boer, who we are right now watching on our cameras. So doesn't really seem like medium downforce if you are in very big traffic is the way to go, but obviously as we were saying, it's down to driver preference. I wouldn't be able to drive medium downforce for sure on this track, although I like loose race cars, but I'm just terrible with the Formula 1.
You know, I know where you can get better at the Formula 3.5 over at ApexRacingAcademy.com, where we have a Formula 3.5 data pack for y'all, and over at Virtual Racing School. And good thing about Apex Racing Academy and Virtual Racing School, they're connected. So they're both integrated with each other, and if you want to learn on how to get better and more competitive to race up here in one of the top SOFs in the fastest growing series on iRacing, go to Apex Racing Academy for the best Formula 3.5 data packs out there, and also on VRS.
Absolutely. As Fabio Carmo sets his fastest lap of the race, we have also a replay from Jorge Lopez Exposito. Just goes wide at the hairpin, letting Andre Ferraslate by for 15th place. He had a quick trip to pit road 2, so he might still have some damage on his car from an incident earlier on in the race.
And for our viewers in chat, great. Marco's quizzing the field, quizzing our viewers in the chat on a few of our trivia myths. And today's question is, what does Kuruma mean in Japanese? Which I completely embarrassed myself last time. I attempted this. And I feel like this is just Marco just roasting me.
I have no idea, and I do not want to know at the moment. I'd rather focus on this race with Samborski under threat from Jason Enrique.
Well, Samborski leading out Henrique. Henrique can make this move work. If he had DRS enabled right there and just force it down the inside, he can have a very late break opportunity on Samborski. But Samborski down these straights is just so fast, too. Samborski has, Henrique, a little bit of a wiggle coming out there. Now this is a good chance for Rob Bohr. They're both of them going down all the way over to the pit wall. Rob Bohr looking for that outside line, heading to Lessarth. Very late on the brakes for Bohr on Henrique. Side by side, they go through Lessarth. And they're still side by side at the exit. That's going to be Henrique staying ahead of the colorful Rob Bohr.
Great move by
actually, there's still
Bohr,
going to be I'm getting racing point flags right here. Side by side through El Rouge and Radion.
Great racing, both on the same setups, more or less. You can see the speed being very similar on the straight, but this giving obviously Samborski the chance to pull away and open the gap.
Oh yeah, Samborski just saw that happening in his mirrors, and a smile definitely is under that helmet right now, and I think you can actually see it through that helmet right now. And as soon as his hand gets out of the way, there it is.
He's
I'm very happy about that.
Even if he crashes, he's always happy.
He's always got a happy poker face on here. So
yeah.
If he bets, you always want to fold.
Texas Hold'em player for sure.
And answer to those who are not available to look at chat or don't like looking at chat, the answer to Kuruma in Japanese, it means car. Not butterfly like I stupidly thought. Don't ask where I thought that.
1 second ahead of also opened a tiny gap with now 3 laps left in this event. Just flown by.
Oh my goodness, James toasting the field right now. 2:02.002. That's not binary. That is the lap time he just put down.
Yeah, he's on a streak. He's in the zone in these last few weeks, we must say.
Yeah, he's been improving a lot. Took up his second win after almost a year of not winning, and his first win was here at Spa. And gosh, I remember that day, and he was so happy about that. And well, it's looking like he's gonna take another one here today. 4 seconds, almost 5 seconds into the lead, and just putting down lap times with Rob Bohr and Henrique still side by side of each other. But it's going to be Henrique staying ahead of Rob Bohr as he held down that inside line.
Another fight for 10th place between Aburame and Zaga.
Aburame just down the straight, had the speed. Just gets past of Asaga. Remember, Asaga has Asaga actually has a little bit of damage. Look at the front left wing of Asaga's.
Yeah. That's maybe what is hanging him back. But still, a very good outing for these drivers, newcomers to the series, still finding their way through this very, very competitive field. But every week making very, very good improvements.
Yeah, top 10. A very nice finish for Aburame last time by Canada. I know he was very happy about that. He was actually posting on his Twitter. He was so happy about that, and I know he is also streaming this on YouTube to the Japanese Formula 3.5 community, and they're very welcoming to the series. And I know a few of them after this season are going to be hopping in. A piece of 2:01.911. He's not giving up. He's enabling DRS for everyone. He's got DRS open right now, actually, coming out of the first corner.
He's definitely not hanging back.
Don't try flat. Do not try this. He's trying this flat out. He just took El Rouge and Radion flat out with DRS open. Pinkster, calm down.
I don't know
what by 5 seconds.
That's absolutely amazing. We are delighted to a great show tonight. Might not be super attracting with overtakes, but definitely James know how to entertain our viewers.
Henrique and Bohr side by side once more. It's like deja vu, honestly, but Henrique is still holding that inside line staying in 7th place.
Still fighting for 10th. Aburam and Azaga. Fight that has been going on for quite a while. Unfortunately for Azaga with his damage to his
And
wing.
dirty air on top of that. Just definitely not helping.
Yeah. It's gonna be very, very hard for him. Even though Aburam is struggling with the front grip. Just locked up the front right. We haven't talked much about the tire wear today, Austin, but for sure also in this race, in these last few laps, drivers will have to deal with it. As James is about to start the last lap of this event.
Big curb strike right there. Pinks here comes across the line. White flag is in the air. One more lap for James J. Pinks here. He's done another purple lap. Well, let's see if he can top that one off, or is he going to take this one with ease? He's going to open up DRS immediately, and he's going to try to beat that time again. 6 seconds in the lead from Robert Tarleton, who is taking a gap to Greg Olson. Top 3, very spread out right now. And just absolutely like butter through Alvarez and Radion.
We got told in the chat that Rouge is flat with even DRS open in the mid-downforce setup this season, so that's a revelation for me.
It's also a revelation for me that was actually possible. I've heard some people trying to do it. Whenever I attempted to do it, I've always spun out and ended up in the wall, which is exactly why I'm here.
Yeah, this guy is very difficult. You need to put solid effort to practice, to master it properly. And even if you put a lot of effort, it's probably a long way before you get to be so comfortable in the car like these guys, unless you are a star in the making. Because I dare you, I tried to make this car work, but I can't.
And last lap, Magic and Henrique look down the inside of Samborski as they're in a fight, nose tail with 6. High downforce, there's some medium downforce right now. Henrique trying to look down the inside. Samborski now defending down the inside right now as they head into campus. Gets onto the nose of Henrique to chop them off from that attempt. And Henrique and Samborski definitely going at it with each other as they head into Village. Ooh, Samborski goes wide. Henrique down low, side by side through Village they go. And now air to Lafra and Henrique down the inside. Here comes Rob Bohr side by side with Samborski as James J. Pincer takes his 2nd win of the season here at Spa. Samborski looking around the outside of Henrique, trying to make it work through blind spot. He's got that move heading into the bus stop corner. One last breaking zone. He takes a very aggressive defensive line. Samborski very well defensive, and now here's Rob Bohr on Henrique. Samborski is going to take 6th place ahead of Henrique and Rob Bohr. What a fight between these two.
Great racing between these drivers. You saw there the beauty of lower downforce for Samborski, flying past everybody on the straight as we look at some more drivers coming at the finish line for this event. With Jorge Garcia finishing 12th, losing a few positions in the race. James Byrne had also a trip on pit road to fix his car in the opening laps, but still bringing the car home in 14th place. A few retirements today, Austin, unfortunately, but still we have been delighted for a very, very good race.
Yeah, very good race. Chaotic at the start, but for most of these drivers, Samborski burning it down on top of Radion. And I'm pretty sure he... Oh. James A. Pinsker very happy about that as he burns it down on top of Radion as... Man, that race is so awesome. And he's being joined by a few of his friends.
An incredible racing wherever you are driving this car, when you have these drivers, the class of the field in the community, You are always pretty much guaranteed for great results and great racing. Look how these drivers are super happy about this event, burning the car down.
Yeah, that's Phil Reed and James A. Pinkston celebrating with each other. I know they always race with each other. Even on other games in the Formula One esports series, they race together a lot. And well, James Pinkston comes on top again and takes the win by 7 seconds. Also, his last lap, 2:01.10. Just insane lap times by James. The only driver to go into the 2:01s, by the way, today. And he did that with authority, so I think he set a lap record, maybe. James Pinkston, he takes the win, followed by Robert Talton and Greg Olson. They completed the podium, followed by Antonio Pavetta, Fabio De Carmo, and Edward Samborski with an amazing finish ahead of Jason Henrique and Rob Bohr, followed by Theodore Burns, Masafumi Aburame, Hayata Asaka, Jorge De Garcia, Phil Reed, James Byrne, Andreas Perez-Litte, Rob Crouch, Jorge Lopez, Eduardo Marquez, Jose Longa, and Daniel Campos in 20th. And behind those, Jamie Byrne and Ale Kwaka, Paul Ilbrink, and Emil Bernstoff retiring after that massive first lap incident between them. And, well, I wouldn't say between them, as there were so many incidents right there, but what a race we saw here today.
Absolutely. Very interesting results too. And now we are really happy to have the chance to speak with our race winner. James, how are you doing? Perfect job today. Great qualifying. Happy to see you back on pole position.
Yes. Oh man, that's such a. Whew. I love that race. I love the feeling of that win. It feels great. Pretty much exactly a year on from my first ever win in this series. Get my first ever pole, which I was quite surprised about because this field is was stupidly stacked for this race. 4.9k soft, but that has Greg on his Smurf, or maybe a couple of Smurfs in there as well. So yeah, I'm counting that as a 5k soft win. Don't care. And it's 24 cars as well. It's just everyone here was an immense skill level. And got pole with a really good lap. I really loved driving that lap. But then in the race, I don't think I quite had the pace in that first half of the race versus Jose, so I let him go. I'll be honest, my eyes turned to dinner plates when I saw him put it in the wall, because then I knew with a 5-second gap behind, I could just control it. And a bit of tension and a bit of pressure. I was feeling pretty pretty worried that if I was going to stack it. But then again, when I was going for the fastest lap, I used on the last lap of the race, I had DRS open through Radeon and Blanchimont. I had to go for that fast lap. Madman, yeah. And and it was a hot session as well. So the rear tires by the end of the race were really frightening. Nearly lost it out of that chicane a few times. But yeah, man, just a great feeling to win this race. Oof.
Well, it's your third ever win here on the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship broadcast. At the track, you first won it, and your second win of the season. You're looking like you're on the track to win the championship, actually, this season.
Well, I never really thought about it up to now, but seeing after last week in Montreal, I threw away quite a lot of points from just a silly mistake. But this race was huge, and that probably put me back on track. 283 championship points. Maybe it would have been 290 if Greg wasn't in the Smurf, but I'm not salty about that. 283 is a lot. That's the highest I've seen. Well, that's the highest I've seen myself get ever. And that's a pretty big score for the championship as well. So winning the title from here, I've got to do all of the last. I've got to keep it clean for all of the broadcasts for the rest of the season. Hope I can keep finishing on the podium in those. It's always a competitive field. It's always a tough job to fight up here. So we'll see. But I think I've got a shot now, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Well, it's time for you to enjoy this win and get ready for next week. Before we let you go, though, anyone you want to thank?
I'd like to thank Jose for tapping me up the bum that time into turn 1. I assume the stream caught that when he tapped me in turn 1. He let me back through though, and there was no damage, so I was fine.
We did get that, by the way.
Yeah, good. But I was at the time it was pretty nerve-wracking because I thought I broke quite late, and then it's just a small contact, half spin. Very lucky that I kept on going with no damage, and only a few seconds lost. He let me through, and he apologized afterward. So thanks to him. I think he was very quick today, so maybe deserved the win. He's only 6k I rating. That's a disservice to the talent that Jose Langer has, because he could easily be 7 or 8. He's very, very fast. But he made the mistake today, which gave me a win that I'm very happy about, and I'm going to treasure for a while to come, I think. And I'd like to thank... Yeah, and finally, I thank, after over a year of doing these races, a year on from my first win, through all of it, Apex Racing TV have provided these broadcasts, always been really high quality, love watching them back. So thanks to everyone here, thanks to Austin, commentating them since day one, and hope to see you on these again soon. Cheers.
We'll see you in the future. Congrats on the win, James. You have yourself a great afternoon, and over to Alessandro, who is standing by with Robert Tarleton.
Yes, Robert, how are you doing? Second place today. Great job in the race, because you made up 11 spots from your qualifying position.
Yeah, that was a pretty rough qualifying. I did a practice race earlier today, and I was not good on qualifying pace. And then to make matters worse, during the qualifying, my wheel decided to have some problems. So it was just dropping shifts and being laggy on the shifts and not registering DRS pushes. So I was just losing time struggling with that. But even then, I was probably a little bit off the qual pace. So I expected to start a little bit of the ways back, but it was definitely a little further back than I was hoping.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, it's a very good performance. Great fight with Greg for the second spot, and what it was eventually before Langa's mistake, third place.
Yeah, Greg and I had some really good battles throughout the whole race, and he definitely had a lot of pace because he was just keeping the pressure on. It was also pretty rough because in all the battling to try to get up to third or second, I'd actually taken 14 incidents, so I only had it was 4 incidents to take me through the rest of the race, which was 13 laps. So it was a combination of him just having pace and me not having any incidents to spare. Is pretty tense race for me.
Next week we go to Barcelona. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm just remembering back to the last Barcelona race, and I just did not have pace. I think it was Samborski and Ilbrink were battling up front, and I was just trying to keep Tim behind and slowing him down. But so not excited, but I'll try to improve my driving and hopefully be a little more competitive there.
A quick question to end the interview. Would you rather prefer to run the old layout of Barcelona or this newer layout with the tight chicanes at the end?
Yeah, that's a good question. I like the new layout. I mean, the old one is, it's the classic, and have fond memories of that one. But I like the chicane because it's a little more technical. So I'd say probably the new one.
Well, thanks very much, Robert. Before we let you go, anyone you would like to thank?
As usual, I'd like to thank my girlfriend Heidi. She's really supportive and is tolerant to me planning my morning around this. So thank you to her, and then you guys for the great podcast.
Thank you very much. We hope to see soon in our booth, hopefully for a podium also in Barcelona. You never know, you can always bounce back from not so good performances.
Yeah, hope so. Hoping for first.
Have a nice day, Robert. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Well, Austin, we have time for one more broadcast interview, sorry. I think you are side by side with Greg Olson.
Yeah, I am standing by with Greg, and Greg had a Good race today. Finished in third, but a very interesting fact by Greg. Only driver in the field not to get an incident point. So, the most cleanest driver in the field, which should be said by a safety rating at 4.99. Should be like 27 right now. Greg, how was that race for you?
Really? Did I not get a single incident? I mean, this is my
Not
AutoCAD.
one.
I was intending to just take people out whenever I fancied it. That's what it's for. But no, it was. It was a crazy race. I think the first 6 laps or so, like, were just mental. Like, I had 3 or 4 near-death experiences just with high-speed drafting. Even the first corner, I slowed down as much as I could, went to first gear, cranked in as much lock as I could, and it was just sliding left and left and left, and I was worried I was going to netcode somebody, and I think I might have done. So I just all I was trying to do for those first few laps was just survive, and I was just taking it easy, letting people take each other out. Yeah, and it worked out, really. I can't believe I came third. Can't believe I finished.
Well, hey, you finished up on the podium, and it's all smiles from here as you head to Barcelona. What are you looking for that race?
Yeah, I like Barcelona. It's probably not going to be quite as exciting as this race, but I really enjoy driving Barcelona. So yeah, we'll see. I'll have to try and balance the driving with the Dallara IR01 and this car, because I think that car's at Monza next week. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky trying to balance driving those 2 cars. But look, my teammates are doing a fantastic job, developing the setups and whatnot, and I'm sort of just benefiting, really. I'm providing input where I can, but they're doing the grunt work, trying to get the cars balanced. So I think I could do a good job at Barcelona.
Well, we're going to be happy to see how you do over at Barcelona next week. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank my team again, just like I was saying, Tim, Jose, Daniel, Manuel, Lubomir. Yeah, Jose came up with a really good set. I wasn't sure whether we'd go medium downforce or high downforce, and I think Daniel and Jose developed a really nice medium downforce set, and Lubomir had a really good qualifying set as well. Unfortunately, I didn't deliver, but no, it all worked out in the end. So thanks a lot to the team. Can't thank them enough. And yeah, and as always, to you guys for the broadcast.
All right, thank you, Greg. You have yourself a good morning over there in Australia. And over to Alessandro with any closing thoughts.
Well, Austin, has been another thrilling round. Really looking forward for next week comeback at Barcelona. We have been delighted last season for a treat with Samborski winning there, if I remember correctly. And we might see him bouncing back from a few weeks where he's not been where usually we see him. What do you think?
I feel like next week is going to be a very interesting fight for the championship between the top 3 drivers. And, Samborski and James Pinskier, they're starting to close the gap on each other in that championship fight. Also, Paul Ilbrink, after a few weeks of not having the greatest starts, he's going to be struggling to stay in that secondary spot. And also someone who's not regularly in the broadcast, currently 3rd in the championship, is Yuta Saito. Hopefully they come into the SLF broadcast and give everyone else a drive for the championship fight. Heads to Barcelona next week. Thank you all for joining us here on Apex Racing TV for the Formula 3.5 Championship. I've been joined by Alessandro Dalladone with Marco Barbonera in the broadcast booth. I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.